Call the meeting to order at 7:05. I'm still searching for it. So Mark, if you don't mind, the first thing we need to do is take a look at the minutes and review them. And
actually, Dom, there are no minutes for October.
okay.
I spent, the system that we use is not the easiest, and I inadvertently opened up November's minutes and started putting all the October minutes in the November minutes, and got to the very end and was like, why is this showing up? And then I had to go back, and by that time Lisa had sent out the email to everybody without the minutes attached. So we will do the minutes in December.
Okay, sounds good.
Sorry about that.
And I'm gonna apologize to you, Mark, because I don't know if I sent them earlier. I sent them again this week, but I couldn't remember if I had sent them right after or not. So if I didn't send them until late,
Well, that's okay, Fran. I was purposely being vague about when I got the minutes. So I was taking all the blame.
What a guy.
No, I couldn't let you do that. I'm partially, I couldn't remember if I usually try to send it after the meeting, but it's been a crazy month.
Oh,
So anyway.
I'm so thankful that I'm old and my kids are no longer in school,
Oh,
because I can't imagine what you parents are having to go through.
indeed.
And Fran, you're also a teacher, so that probably complicates, excuse me, complicates things even more.
Yeah, things are complicated.
Yes. So thank you for all that you're doing.
That's nice of you to say. Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing. It's a crazy time for everyone.
It certainly is, yes. And I guess while we're throwing things out, maybe we should congratulate Angela for whatever part she played in Pfizer getting out the
Yay!
hopefully going to help put our world back in place.
For sure.
Thank you, Angela.
That's funny that you should say that. I just heard, Angela, when you first came out with it, they said it was like 90% effective. And then on CBS News, we were driving home from pickleball, as it would be, and we noticed that it was 95% effective is what they're calling now. So that's exciting stuff.
So the original data was just preliminary safety data, preliminary efficacy data that we gathered during our phase 3 trials. So what they've released now, our phase 3 trials are finished. So now we have the complete data. So after having the complete data picture, our efficacy is much more improved. So it's 95.3% effective.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still looking, Mark. So
Okay, that's all right. So the next item on the agenda is citizens' petitions and comments.
Nothing.
here we go. All right. Did anybody talk with a person that had a complaint or concern or an issue?
No.
No.
Okay.
I did.
Oh,
Questions more than
Okay.
anything.
okay.
Sorry.
No,
I
no,
made
that's fine.
promises and I'm keeping them. The first question I got was about the basketball court, because obviously it's in my neighborhood, and when we're walking around, people asked about the timeline, because the basketball court on Heather Glen has been torn up, and we're wondering when it's going to be repaved. I know you said painting in the last meeting wasn't going to happen until probably the summer, but also there was a question about whether or not it would be handicap accessible, because the way it is right now, because of the construction, there's a ramp for the trucks to get into and off of the court, I'm guessing. So people are wondering if there's always going to be a ramp to make the court accessible for handicap purposes.
So Friday, they are scheduled to pave the court. They're actually doing 2 courts on Friday, Deerfield and over in Tanglewood. And an additional part of the work is we had, I think in 2013, a consultant come in and look at all the recreation facilities and do an assessment as to their compliance with ADA standards. And the way that the sidewalk that runs alongside the parking lot at Deerfield, the grades were not correct. So as part of the basketball project, they are correcting those so that the transition from the parking lot to the sidewalk will meet ADA guidelines. And I have to double check to make sure that they're going to be paving a connector to the basketball court so that someone would be able to get onto the basketball court.
Thank you. So I took notes on that. And the other question I got, and this is from just a bunch of parents who are now signing up their children for parks and rec activities because they're going to be virtual.
Yes.
They want to know if they're going to remain virtual throughout the winter or if there's a possibility of them switching back to being in person. Most of the parents who asked me that want it to be virtual because they weren't signing their kids up for it when it was in person. So.
Right. Yes. My expectation is that it will be virtual through the winter, given everything that I hear on the news and, related to the increase number of people with COVID. And also, I think the timeline, the timeline for the vaccination, I honestly don't think it will be until, and I'm being optimistic, probably sometime this spring before we go back to, in-person classes, or that we'll start offering in-person classes. And I think people at that time will have to make a decision, based on their comfort level. And, but I am not expecting that we're going to go back to in-person classes until this spring. And I know the town manager has said, even if Groton went from red back down to yellow or orange, I'm sorry, even if we went from red to orange, he would not approve us going back to in-person classes, because unless that occurred over a sustained period of time, and I just don't think that's going to happen.
Thank you very much. That's
And
all I had.
Okay, I actually had one follow-up, Fran, to a question that you had asked me last time about
Okay.
the cleaning of the floors. I did confirm that and this is in the multi-purpose room or dojo, those are steam cleaned 4 times a year, and we bought a fogger, and that floor is being sprayed or will be sprayed twice a week once we get back to in-person classes.
Okay, twice a week?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mark, along the same lines there, I had the opportunity to, I guess it was close to a month ago anyway, but I understand that there were 3 motors for the air vac system placed in the Groton Community Center. And I know there's one vac exhaust fan in the gym, and I wasn't sure where the others were.
Well, Dom, the only air handling system that I'm aware of in the community center has been in the multi-purpose room, and that's actually an oversized air conditioner. So I'm not aware that something else was installed for the purpose of circulating air and filtering it. Is that what your understanding is? Is that?
Yeah, I was asking, when I had happened to be there, I had a meeting with Ben,
Okay,
and it just so happened that Vic was there checking people in,
yeah,
and he started talking to one of the public works guys.
okay,
And then I just happened to ask him, I said, hey, I noticed that there's an exhaust fan in the gymnasium. And
okay,
I was wondering, we always put it on and whatnot. He goes, oh, you're gonna love it. He goes, we put in 3 different motors for 3 different places in the community center, including the one in the gym. He goes, and it's on a timer, and it goes on at 9 and off at 9. So, but and then I started thinking about it. I don't know where the other 2 would be, except in that where they have karate gymnastics.
right.
I'm wondering if they probably had an exhaust fan in there as well, but I don't know any of the other places. So
So
that might be something you might want to look into.
are these portable units or?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
that big, whatever you want to call it, the big exhaust fan
Right,
in the ceiling of the gym.
yeah.
And they had just put a new motor in there.
Oh, okay.
Because I
Oh,
was
okay.
thinking, oh, great, open up all the doors, and just pull that fresh air right in.
Right.
But I didn't know where the others were throughout the GCC, so.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's one in the multipurpose room and the dojo. I would have to check on the third one. I had asked months and months ago about when we were getting ready to open back up, one of the questions that I asked was, is it possible to put in better filters in the air handling system to try to capture more of whatever was circulating around? And the answer I got was they'll look into it, and perhaps they did. And maybe what they found was, because of the age of the building, they also were going to have to improve the motors, because, as you know, the better the filter gets, the more the motor has to work in order to pull and collect particles. So I was not told that they had done that. I'm certainly glad that they did. And I will check and let you know in what 3 areas of the building they did that.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear that, so.
Yeah, well, I am too. That's a
Yeah, yeah.
pleasant surprise.
Yep. Okay, moving right
Tell me,
along.
just for Treehouse. Oh, real quick question that just popped in my mind. Are they still using the community center house and school related things, even when school's out of session? In person, I mean?
The treehouse program, is that what you're asking about?
Wasn't the community center being used for things like that?
Yes, the treehouse program the Board of Ed is continuing to use the community center for that. They have opted to continue in person for that particular program, and we're providing the space.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any town council referrals?
No.
Okay. Did any of the commissioners get any correspondence or communications? No?
Nope.
Then we are right down to you, Mark, reports. The director report.
Okay, so in addition to what I was sent out last week, I do have a couple of other updates. I did mention that Deerfield and Tanglewood are being paved. And at the Tanglewood development, between the road and the basketball court was a row of arborvitaes, and those were taken out prior to the basketball court being torn up, just to provide better access for for all the equipment. Well, as soon as those arborvitaes went out, my phone started ringing. I started getting emails from all the neighbors. And, I explained to them that I had intended on putting up a fence in replace of the arborvitaes, along with some natural plantings, some screening in front of that. Well, and Fran, please don't put this next statement in the minutes, but the neighbors said that a chain link fence, and I was going to do a nice chain link fence, probably a black or a dark green, because the darker colors tend to, it disappears from sight. And I was also going to use some nice screening. They said that their property values would be devalued. The neighborhood would go down if I put a chain link fence up. So I got, I don't know, 2 or 3 phone calls, a few emails. Someone reached out to the RTM representative in that area, and someone showed up with a petition with a number of signatures on there, all saying that they didn't want a chain link fence. They wanted the arborvitaes to go back up. So I've decided to put the arborvitaes back up once the court is finished. So yeah. So anyway, that was quite an experience. I never expected that kind of outpouring for a bunch of arborvitaes that were in poor health. And anyway, so Senior Center, they have moved to virtual programs. They're doing a number of exercise classes. They've set up kind of a Zoom studio in the Senior Center, and the instructor comes in and teaches the class. They're all live. They don't get recorded and played back later. And participation has been pretty good. They are also looking to try to look for opportunities to expand programming. Tax season will be coming up, and a service that they have provided in the past was people could come in with their taxes and have somebody go over the taxes, help them in preparation. They're looking to see if they can do that in some other form where the papers get dropped off and the tax person, looks at the documents and then has a follow-up Zoom meeting or conference call with the whoever taxes it is. So they are looking for opportunities to increase programming. Again, it's all being done virtually. The recreation.
The exercise,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, the exercise class has been great.
Oh, you're participating in one.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, good. Okay.
And it makes all the difference to have a live session.
Yeah, and they put it up on a big screen, and so the instructor can see the participants, and which I think is great. So there's not only the physical health benefit, but there's also, I think, a mental health benefit of just being able to make that connection. So
Yep. Good.
so the recreation department, we were 6 weeks into an 8-week session when we got shut down. We took a couple weeks to figure out exactly what we were going to do. We've moved fall ones. Those have all gone virtual, and the fall 2 session is going to start after Thanksgiving, and all of those programs will be virtual also. Peacock Woods, Angela, this is for you. Peacock Woods were cut. The crew went through this week and reblazed the blue trail. They also saw that they needed to reblaze the red and yellow trail, and I think they're ordering paint for that. And they've also cleaned up the trails at Peacock Woods. And they do that. This is typically the time of year that they do that, when grass starts to slow down and they don't have as many of these other projects. Right now they're doing quite a bit of work on taking care of the leaves, but they also mix that up with some other projects, and clearing trails is one of them. And they did do Peacock Woods this past week. So I think I had mentioned before, the town was putting up a new website, and that actually happened today. And due to our nagging complaining that the department was under, I think, residents, all the other departments were listed under departments, but Parks and Recreation somehow, somebody somewhere made the decision that, oh, recreation ought to be under residents. Well, we said how ridiculous that was. And we've moved now to, we're now a department again.
Yay.
Yeah, so we originally are supposed to go live about a week and a half ago, and we looked at the beta version and it just wasn't ready to go live. So I spoke to the town manager. I said, hey, can we get it pushed off a week? Our department has a lot of work to do to make the links all work correctly. And he said that was fine. And then we realized it was Friday the 13th, and the IT director said, well, I don't want to launch a new web page on Friday the 13th, so we'll wait until the middle of the week. And so the new web page is up. There still are things that need to be done, but it's much more user-friendly. I'm not really an IT person, but one of the benefits that I understand is it's mobile friendly. So when you're on your phone, you don't have to constantly, do this. And the other benefit, and I think Angela would probably appreciate this, is you can click on a picture and like it and send it to Facebook. And I guess it tracks all kinds of social media data. So Jessica, who is our community outreach coordinator, can see how people are finding our webpage, how they're clicking from one page to another, and that will provide us valuable information moving forward. So that's that took place today. Community First Meals, that was an initiative that the Senior Center started over the summer. They got donations and started providing free meals. When they ran out of money, I think it might have been maybe August or September, they ran out of money and discontinued that program. They have started that again. Last week, they provided 300 free meals, and they have in the last couple of weeks received over $10,000 in donations. Yeah, it's just phenomenal. So they are going to continue that program until they run out of money again. And on the 12th and 13th of December, I think Pfizer's doing some kind of, I don't know, Angela, can you tell me a little bit about this? I've signed up for it. And we've got 4 or 5 other people from the staff, but maybe you could share with the rest of the commission what Pfizer's doing.
So we are putting together a holiday lights display. We're turning about a half-mile stretch of our campus into a gorgeous display of holiday lights. Well, I'm hoping it will be gorgeous. In my mind, it's definitely going to be gorgeous. We're working with Power Posse, who is a local vendor. I'm really happy with the design they've put together for me. So I think it will be beautiful. It's not going to be huge. Again, it's only a half-mile stretch of road, but you would come in our north gate and go out our east gate. So come in Eastern Point Road and exit at Shinnecossett. So we're putting this together for our colleagues in lieu of a holiday party, for something special for them and their families. I wanted to create a little bit of holiday magic, and I think that we need a little bit of extra holiday magic this year during the pandemic. And our leadership team very generously agreed to allow me to extend it to the community as well. So Friday will be our colleague only night, and then Saturday and Sunday we're opening it up to the city and town of Groton. We will be able to fit about between 700 to 900 cars in. So we'll sign up. I'm just looking at my sign up list actually. It'll be about 924 cars we'll be able to get in. So we have 14 slots of 15 minutes, and 66 people can sign up for each of those slots. So we'll have some folks kind of along the way, dressed up, smiling, waving, helping us collect canned goods as well, because we're going to charge admission of a canned good or non-perishable food item to support Gemma Moran. So we'll have the United Way food truck will be there as well. And we'll also have one of our fire trucks all lit up, and Santa Claus will be on the fire truck. So we are just trying to share that holiday magic that we put together for colleagues with our community.
Oh, that's wonderful, Angela.
Sounds lovely.
Thank you.
And are you
So
still
nice.
looking for volunteers, or how is that?
We're really kind of limiting it to the I didn't want to make this a huge outside of Pfizer thing, especially because we have to vet all of the people that we're bringing on site and get them signed in and badged and everything.
Okay,
So I was trying to stick with the municipalities. Of course, we're partnering with the city of Groton, but because I have a relationship with the town, and the town is important too. We might be located physically in the city,
Yeah.
but we want to extend this to all of Groton. So I wanted to just really kind of connect with the municipalities. We're worried that it's going to be too big. We really want to concentrate on Groton residents because they're our neighbors. I'm worried that if we kind of go beyond like the Facebooks, the community forum, asking for volunteers, other places, it's just going to become even more complex than it already is. And there are a lot of moving pieces. If you have more volunteers at Parks and Rec that are willing to come and help, that work for you, Mark, or if you know other town staff that are interested in supporting, I would be happy to look at it. We're just looking for people to help us kind of collect donations. We originally were thinking to direct traffic, but our security team is going to do all of the traffic directing on site, and the city of Groton Police will be directing traffic off site outside of the gates. So really what we need is just people to help kind of collect the donations as quickly and efficiently as possible, so that we can keep the traffic moving and not create a bottleneck. And then depending on what people are wearing and how festive they look, I might have people kind of walking up and down on the sidewalk, of course, not on the road, along the route, kind of just waving and smiling at people where it might make sense. But I feel like Power Posse did a really good job kind of filling places in along the route. So there are only a few spots where there would be nothing. So
okay,
that answers your question.
okay, all right. Yes, so I think Jessica said we had 4 or 5 people from our department that were signed up.
Okay, good.
Now, you said they're doing background checks?
No, just getting,
Oh,
I need to
okay,
get
good.
names and get everybody signed in. Like we have to get them registered. They'll have to get registered. Actually, I'll have to get them their visitors badges. I have to get them all done by Friday because our visitor center is not open on the weekends. So I have to get all of that stuff done the Friday before the event so that everybody has their badge.
Oh, okay, all right. I was just afraid if there's a background check, I might have to withdraw.
You kind of struck me as a shady guy, Mark.
Okay, so that's all that I had in addition to the printed report. I don't know if there was any questions related to the printed report.
No, I just noticed that and we never discussed it, or at least I missed it, that the trees were planted on the golf course. Was there like 5 or 7 trees?
No, we planted 10 or 11 trees.
10? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great to
Yeah.
see that. So,
Yeah, and in 40 years, they will provide the screening that
Yeah.
all neighbors are looking for. Right
that
now.
they're complaining about now. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, I just had one question. I didn't remember what the Connecticut Community Connectivity Grant goal was.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I wrote a grant for $344,000 for kind of two phases to a project. One was to connect Midway Oval and I can't think of the other name of the road. An on-road bike, well, they call it a charrette, which is a abbreviation for a shared, I think, shared road. So essentially it's markings along the road that road is to be shared for both bikes and for cars. And that would go from, well, along with Midway all the way over to the right of way that connects, that goes between two houses and goes into Sutton Park. And then the other part of that project was either a 10 or a 12-foot wide paved bike path that would start from the boundary of Sutton Park, go out around the baseball fields, and then into the front of the Sutton Park. So Sutton Park is kind of broken up into two sections. It looks like a figure eight. There's a big section in the back, there's a real narrow section, and then there's another big section in the front. So it would essentially go from the back section all the way to the front section and connect with the bike path or multi-use path that runs along Route 1 that exists right now. And that section within Sutton Park would also be lit with solar powered lights. So that was the Connecticut Community Connectivity Grant. And I have not heard back from them yet as to whether we were awarded all or part of that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Golf course?
All right, so you should have received a couple of reports. The monthly revenue report for October, this past October, we did just shy of $119,000. Last year, we did $70,000. So right now, our total revenue year to date is 562. Prior year was 485, so we're about $85,000 ahead of last year. So we continue to have great participation at the golf course, and I think that is continuing into November with the days getting shorter. We don't have as much play, and with it getting cooler, you know, it adjusts seasonally, but even in October, we saw that play remained very strong, and I suspect that that will continue into November. The other report that I provided was kind of a year-to-date of both expenses and revenue, and I just wanted to, if anyone looked at it in detail, they'd be like, oh my gosh, our revenue is only $299 and our expenses are 312. So it appeared that we're operating in a deficit. That's not the case. The revenue figures tend to run about a month behind. So we make deposits every couple of days in the bank, but finance doesn't record those deposits until they get the statement from the bank. So not to be concerned. We are financially we're looking very good right now, even though it isn't necessarily reflected in this report.
Did I get the number right that you said the monthly revenue last month was just shy of 100,000?
119,000. It was
119. I missed
$118,950, and the prior year was 70,000, and the prior 4-year average was 67. So we killed it in October.
It was good weather.
Yes, the weather and also the demand. So typically we would have adjusted our rates to off-season rates in sometime in October. Once we start to see play dropping off, we would typically drop our rates in October just to try to encourage people to continue to play. But we've seen that demand is so strong that we have not adjusted our rates. And so we're still charging full rates that we would normally charge in July and August. And we're still charging full rates in October. And other golf courses in the area are seeing the same thing. And I'm sure that no one has, sent out notices that they're reducing their rates.
It would look as if the rate schedule that was developed last winter has really paid off in terms
It
of
has,
the passes.
I think that the smartest thing we've done in years is we went to a rolling membership date. So previously it was always, April 1st to March 30th. And so, when you get into June or July, people hesitate on, well, this membership is only good until March. Why would I want to pay the full membership rate? And so we made the decision sometime last spring to go to a rolling date. So if you sign up July 3rd in 2020, your membership is good until July 3rd, 2021. So, and that has helped tremendously. We picked up, I want to say close to 25 memberships after July 1st, which is just, unheard of. I mean, we would never get new members after usually May in the past. So that I think has been probably the single largest reason that we've have enjoyed such success and seen a huge increase in membership. And I don't see us going away from that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. I just, it'll be interesting to see how long before other courses catch on to what we're doing. And
Are we completed with the golf course?
unless there's any
All
other
right.
questions.
Trails Coordinating Task Force.
There was no meeting. We meet quarterly, and the next meeting is, I think, the first week in December.
Along those lines, Sherry and I walked the COP property, and I have to tell you, you guys do a great job, marking all the trails and all that.
What's that, Don? I couldn't hear you. No, I heard.
It was very pleasant, and the trails are well kept and very well marked. So it was very nice,
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, so one of the things that when I first got here, I couldn't believe the number of phone calls that the department would get saying, yeah, I got lost out at the COP property. I don't understand how that's possible. You're never that far away from 184, where if you just listen to the traffic, you start, but and one time I got a phone call from a lady who was out and she was lost in the woods. And yeah, and so one of the things that we did out at the COP property, and we've also done this at Peacock Woods, is we've started to put markers at trailheads, and then also paint the trails different colors so that it's easier for people to get around. And we've also done a lot more with mapping so that people can, and they can now actually pull up a map on their phone and try to help them as they're out in the woods. But
yeah, having the map which says you are here is quite helpful on any trail,
Yes, yep.
Okay, moving right along, athletic fields.
So the Athletic Fields Task Force had a public meeting, I think 2 weeks ago, and they have a meeting tomorrow night, and then at some point they're planning on going to the council probably sometime in December to present their findings and their recommendations. And I think I sent everybody a copy of the presentation. Did I do that? Is that one of the attachments? It should have been a PDF.
No.
Oh, you didn't get that? Okay. Then I will send that when I get back in the office on Friday. I'll send that out to everybody. And it was the presentation that was given to at the public meeting, which was done via Zoom.
Okay, accreditation.
Staff continues to work on accreditation. There's a few documents related to accreditation that we're going to be going on over a little bit later.
Okay. The Pratt Recreation Building.
We met with the architect last Friday to talk about a second round of revisions on the preferred concept. A few weeks ago, we had a meeting with the developer that's proposing this entire build out, took some of their comments, and right now the architect is working with the firm that does the estimating for the cost. And that should be out in a few weeks. And the department right now, some of the programming staff is working on the O&M, which is operating and maintenance budget, and the FF&E. These are all new terms that I've learned. FF&E is furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So essentially what we're doing is we're looking at the space we have and trying to come up with, okay, when we think we're going to be, when and what type of programs we're going to be running in those different spaces, the multi-purpose space, the gym, the lap lanes, and the therapy pool, and all of those, and then trying to come up with costs associated with operating those different programs. So in other words, from 9 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're going to have a Jazzercise program. What are the costs that are going to be associated with that? Well, there'll be one contractual instructor, and then we're going to need some exercise equipment, bands and balls and things like that. And so it's a pretty extensive, comprehensive task that we're going through, because we've got to come up with a proposed schedule for the entire building, and all the costs associated. How many full-time employees do we think we're going to need? What kind of, if we're going to have public meeting space, what kind of furniture we're going to need. And so the Greenplay, who's the consulting team that we're working with, they provided us with a spreadsheet with all kinds of tabs, asking us questions about, that we kind of fill in, and it calculates all of these different expenses. And once we've had an internal review of that, we'll ship it off to Greenplay. They'll look at it, because they've done this for hundreds of departments across the country, and we'll tweak a little bit, and then the cost to rehab the building will be combined with the O&M and the FF&E, and all of that information will get presented to the council and to the planning department as they're trying to work out the TIF funding, which is tax increment financing. There's a second F, and I'm not sure what the second F stands for. But anyway, we're just trying to come up with what it's going to cost to build the building, rehab the building, what it's going to cost to run the building, and what our projected revenue is. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay. Do we have any unfinished business?
I think the review of the draft strategic plan.
Right.
And we went over this last time, and the commission had identified a number of suggestions. And so I went back and I made those changes, and I just wanted to show that I had done that. And hopefully I didn't miss any of the great suggestions that everybody had made. And if I caught everything and put in correctly what everyone had intended, then if we could get a motion, because this is one of the documents that we have to show that has been approved by an approving authority. So I don't know if there's any questions related to the strategic draft plan. But I did, you should have received that in the packet, and
Yeah,
I tracked changes so everybody could see the changes that were
That was
made.
helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
I did on page 2, Mark, number 2, about the
Yep.
advocacy. It didn't read smoothly to me, and I didn't remember, I didn't have my notes in front of me as to what we were trying to do here.
This was two.
Yeah.
Okay,
Item number 2 on page 2.
okay,
Promote advocacy, and then educate and empower to help shape change.
oh.
It just in,
Yeah, no, you're right, to help shape change.
to help shape the community, right?
Well, wait a minute. I think if I can, oh, shoot.
Can it be residents? I mean, there needs to be a subject there.
but to help residents shape change in the community, is that how that should read?
No, I would say educate and empower residents to help shape. And I don't know if you want shape the community or change the community. I don't think you can have both.
Can you
Or
tell me
to
where is
help-
this? Because I can look at the notes
to
from
help-
last week.
Yeah,
To
Fran,
help educate and empower the community to make change, to help shape change.
Fran, this is number 2 under goals, and it's the first, it's 2A under the goals.
The way we had it in the notes from the last meeting was educate and empower the community to help shape change.
Okay,
Sounds
Okay,
thank you, Fran. So educate and empower the
The community.
community.
To help shape change.
Okay, thank you.
great. That was the only question I had.
Okay,
I had one, and maybe it's just me the way I'm reading it.
which
But
one,
it's-
Tom?
It's number 5,
Okay,
8. It's under cultivated dynamic workforce.
okay,
H, job descriptions to be reviewed and updated to support a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce. And I don't know, does that sound correct to everybody? A more diverse, equitable. and
Where is
equitable
this?
this is 5H.
a job description to be reviewed and updated to support a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce. Equitable. I guess I'm struggling with equitable, but I guess that's just me. So I think we could leave it at that, I guess.
Yeah, equitable is the right word, especially if you're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I think
Okay.
that Mark may be. I mean, to expand DE&I efforts.
Yeah, that's
So-
actually a big push in the town right now. primarily driven by the Parks and Recreation Department.
Okay,
The
I
one
think-
5 is just the 5, the monitor workload and staffing needs to maintain, ensure adequate support. I think you can get rid of maintain,
Okay,
because it says to maintain, ensure adequate support based on customer demand.
so to ensure adequate support, okay.
so just get rid of maintain, yeah.
And I think that when we initially did the revisions for 5H, which Dom had brought up,
Yeah,
I think we had the word regularly in there too. To regularly review and update job descriptions. I'm not sure how much that one word matters, but I looked in the notes and we did have that in there.
Well, yeah, because sometimes job descriptions aren't looked at for years and years, and all of a sudden you've got something that's a real problem. I mean, I'm talking from my own experience. I have no idea about.
yeah, no, we have job descriptions that go back as far as like 1997 that haven't been changed.
So underutilized, sorry, this is 4C item IV. It says utilize evaluations to gain, I think you meant to access. Was that supposed to be assess community interest?
Oh, assess, yeah. Assess as opposed to access.
Okay.
So, but isn't that spelled wrong? Assess,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
assess should have 2 S's.
it
It
should be
says
two,
access.
should be 2 S's, right?
Sorry,
instead-
4 S's all.
Yeah.
ASSESS instead of AC, yeah. All right. Anything else there?
I'm looking. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
That's all I see at the moment. I'm looking over the rest of the red, but I don't know if anybody else sees anything.
No, that was
No.
all.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, for those revisions.
Yeah,
oh, you're welcome. So if the commission feels comfortable, could we approve this with the noted changes, or would you prefer that I provide a third vision at the next meeting with the noted revisions?
I'll make a
No.
motion to accept the revisions as completed tonight.
I'll
I don't know.
second that.
Okay,
Good job, Mark.
well, thank you all for looking over. I know Elizabeth said, yeah, this was a lot of reading, and hopefully in the next few months it will slow down.
It keeps you out of trouble.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep my mic muted when I'm typing. I apologize. My typing is overwhelming your sound. I forgot to-
Fran, are you good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Am I supposed to be doing something?
No, no, I,
thought people were just being quiet.
okay.
Mark, there was a, what's the document where you have the vision and mission statement? I was reading that, but I can't remember where.
Yeah, that was a separate document.
Okay,
And, I'm not sure that
I thought we did that a couple of months ago.
well, I think you did it last month and there was a couple of small changes. And I don't think I included that in this packet. But I
No,
know I made the changes. And I will go back and
no, I was just curious about it, that's all.
we can
Because there
review,
was, yeah,
yeah, we can review that, a second draft of that in December.
okay.
Mark, for the purposes of the accreditation paperwork, does each of these have to have the date that it was presented to the commission?
Yeah, so the evidence and compliance will be the minutes from the meeting showing that there was a motion made and that it was passed now this isn't for every document, but there's a list of about, I don't know, 6 or 7 documents that there has to be evidence of compliance that it was reviewed and approved by some governing board. Now, some of the documents, for example, one of the documents that we have to show proof of approval is the budget. Now, that's something that the council and the RTM will do.
Mhm.
And there's others, most of the documents on the list, and again, I think there's 6 or 7, can be approved by the commission, but there are a couple that would not normally be approved by the commission, but by a higher approving authority.
Sure.
Yeah, but the strategic plan happens to be one of the documents that needs to be approved, and proof of that approval shown.
Mhm.
All right, Don, I think we're ready to move on.
All right, sounds good. Review, okay. New business. Department Public Information Policy and Procedures Review.
Yeah, so this again is one of the standards that we have to meet. And I believe this was in the packet. I don't know if there's any comments, suggestions.
The content looked fine to me, Mark. The 2 suggestions I've had is be sure to add page numbers.
Okay,
And now that you have a nice shiny new website, you're going to want to put that on the document instead of the old one. Your screen print is the old site, right?
yes. It's, well,
It's on the first
it
page.
is, yes, yeah, you're right. We should update.
And I like the new website. I happened on it today and it's a very clean front page. Nice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be laid out so that it's easier for people to navigate. And it's, if you look at the old one, it was, I don't know when it was designed, probably back in the early 90s. And it was just kind of clunky and didn't really have kind of a contemporary look to it. And so I agree. I think this webpage is much better. There's still things that need to be done. If you look at some of the banner pictures, they're the same across multiple
Yeah.
pages, and all of that will get updated as we continue to move forward. But I think it does, and it's got some other kind of cool features, like if we have events coming up there, we can post them to a calendar that pops up on the screen. So yeah, I think it's easier on the eyes and is supposed to be easy to navigate around.
Okay. Okay, so we're all set with that, the Department of Public Information Policy and Procedures?
Yep.
Okay, board vacancy?
Yeah, so we've had a board vacancy for a while now. I had reached out to one person that I thought would be a great advocate for us, but he's got too many other commitments and didn't feel like at this time he could help us. Normally, what's happened in the past is we weren't particularly proactive with who joined the board. For the last couple of years, I've been kind of cherry picking people that I thought would be a great resource for the board. So I'm asking the commission if they could think about somebody that you think would be a great addition to the board. Would be an advocate. I'd prefer to have an advocate, not an adversary on the commission. Although adversaries could provide some, some insight too. But if anyone has somebody in mind, I'm not really looking for someone with a particular specific interest and agenda. So, I think a broad interest in Parks and Recreation, and hopefully recognize the value that recreation provides to the community and would be willing to, stand up and say so and offer thoughts, suggestions, ideas at these meetings. I would certainly be open to that.
Mark, in the interest of, I understand wanting an adversary and or an advocate and not an adversary, but, if you want to expand Parks and Rec and really make sure that we're representing everybody in Groton, and in the interest of diversity, equity, and inclusion, would we be better served if we were to put kind of an open call, whether on the Parks and Rec website? I know that you can find this information, like when you go to the town webpage, they have the vacancies for the commission, but most people aren't going to find those. And, is it general knowledge that these commission spaces are available? I would venture to say no. So maybe there might be somebody, a resident that uses Parks and Rec services that is in an area or a demographic that is not currently represented on the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be wonderful. And yes, I think we can definitely do a better job of letting people know that there's a position available, on the commission. And I'm sure we can get Jessica to somehow thread through that announcement that, we're looking for a diverse, I don't know, I'll have to talk to Jessica about that, but I think we can definitely do a better job. Yeah, I'm not sure that people, like you said, there is some way to get to a page someplace that tells you about open positions, but I'm sure that most people don't wake up in the morning going, oh, I think I'll try to find that page. So I think, we have a pretty large Facebook following and a growing Instagram following. So I think those are two good opportunities for us to try to reach out and get somebody to complete this board. So thank you for that suggestion.
Absolutely.
All right. Dom, are we all set to roll?
We are setting meeting dates for 2021.
Okay. So typically we meet, this is a special meeting. Normally we meet the second Wednesday of the month in every month except July. This year we met in July but didn't meet in August because I was on vacation. So unless anybody has any great opposition to the second Wednesday of the month in every month but July, can we move forward with maintain the existing meeting schedule?
Do we need a motion for that?
I don't know. It probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay, I'd make a motion to set the same meeting dates, the second Wednesday of the month. And do we need a time? 7 o'clock?
Yeah, 7 o'clock if that works for everybody.
Okay,
All right. And typically when we're not operating in Zoom, it would be at the senior center, which I think works for everybody.
okay.
Okay. All right. Did we get a second and an approval
I'll
on that?
second the motion.
Okay.
All right, moving right along, a review of the draft risk management policy plan.
Okay.
All
So
right.
yes, there's two parts to this. One, there's a policy and then there's the plan. And again, this is a standard that's required of the, for accreditation. And the policy is stating essentially that we follow the policies that have been established for risk management through the Human Resources Department. Any comments? Does this look okay to everybody?
Policy looked fine to me. I didn't have anything to offer.
Okay. And then the other part of this was the plan itself. And essentially, this is just an outline of all of the different steps that the department takes for risk management. And all of the attached PDFs, which I don't think you can click on and have access to at this point, are examples of what currently exists within the town and the department as far as risk management.
Mhm.
I think the risk management plan is very thorough.
Yeah, there's quite a few examples of what we're doing. I think this is a pretty strong document and supporting evidence of what we're doing for risk management.
I agree. I mean, it really is quite detailed. I had a couple of ideas. One was on page 7. Well, it's page 6 to page 7, when you're talking about conduct of your guests.
Yeah,
And I was wondering if you want to put in there something about panhandling or solicitation as being inappropriate conduct.
this, the code of conduct, I think, was something that the commission looked at a few months ago. In fact, I think Angela kind of put this document this part of the document together. You know, I'm certainly open to whatever the commission would like to do. I mean, we could add that and we can open the floor for discussion.
Well, my reason for suggesting it is, if you recall, we had a problem at the senior center a few years ago. And there was a person who was soliciting money from other seniors. And that's why it occurred to me that maybe that ought to be, it may have been a one-off, but it could happen again, and you might want to have it documented.
So Elizabeth, what are you suggesting?
Let's see if I can find the line. This is fine print. You'll have to excuse me. I think actually it's on page 6 in the paragraph talking about civil conduct.
Yeah.
And talking about harassment. The last line in that paragraph is harassment may be verbal, visual, physical contact. And I don't know whether we can put something in there about not
Soliciting, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, would the soliciting be including things, just being at the community center, there was a lot of Girl Scout cookie selling going on and school fundraisers going on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Would
sure.
that be exempt from this? Okay, because I know I bought a lot of frozen pizzas and cheesecakes and we sold a lot there.
Oh, yeah, and wrapping paper sales. Yeah. No, this was an individual who was basically panhandling. I don't know how you say that.
So they were soliciting soliciting individuals for money,
Yes.
just not an exchange of service or goods, just they were, okay,
I need money. Will you give me some money?
yeah.
And Mary Jo could give you the details, I'm sure.
So could we add that? Could we add it where all participants and visitors have the right to enjoy an environment where all participants feel welcomed and achieve there without being impeded by discrimination or harassment based on, and then we list all those things. Could we also list solicitation or I'm not sure. Would it be intimidation or what would we call that? I don't know. What would it call?
If you
I
would
don't
call this solicitation, then you're going to eliminate,
You're going to eliminate the Girl Scouts.
right, the Girl Scouts, the bake sales,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
all solicitation. I feel like this is something to me that would fall under harassment, and I don't know that it needs to be specifically addressed. It's such a obviously it has happened, so it is in the realm of possibilities, but I also think that it's such a rare possibility that it isn't something that needs to be addressed. And and also for me, it doesn't align with the intent of the code of conduct, I feel like. Just because I feel like the code of conduct is there to again, to support DE and I, to keep people safe. I just feel like that one is so specific, because then you're kind of discriminating. Like, what if somebody said, you know, I really needed help? Like, yes, you and I know that there are programs available, but maybe they don't know. I just feel like it's kind of, I'm not sure that the person, I don't know that I would perceive it with the same intent that you're meaning it, Elizabeth. Like, if I read it in writing, I'm not sure that the perception, again, that perception wouldn't align with what the rest of the code of conduct is trying to portray.
I think that's part of the problem, was that some of the people being approached were vulnerable themselves, and the individual had been offered services which she refused. However, this is not something I want to beat into the ground. I just wanted to raise it as, you know, was it something we wanted to include? But it is somewhat problematic. And as you say, it's just the one instance, the one individual, I really should say, that I'm aware of. So, you know, it's not something that I'm adamant about. I just wanted to raise it as a consideration.
I mean, for me, I feel like it's something that the senior center staff is probably really cognizant and aware of, as far as, you know,
Sure.
elder abuse, financial abuse, and just kind of being mindful of that. You know,
I just want to be sure that the Parks and Rec staff who are reading this or referencing it realize that that is something that can and should be addressed.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, hopefully if a senior had been approached by somebody else, they would speak up and share that with Mary Jo or somebody else on the staff, and that they would, you know, the staff would deal with it immediately. Yeah, I don't think that would be anything that would go, you know, unattended to or unresolved.
So in here, Mark, is there any place where there is background checks? Is there something in here? Because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, the background checks is something we do that.
But isn't that part of risk management?
Yes.
My sound cut out for a second. What was it you brought up that you wanted to know if it was part of risk management?
Background checks,
Background checks. Okay, thank you.
not only for employees, but for volunteers?
Yeah, and we do both of those things.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good catch, Dom, and we can certainly add that to this document. I know that's an example provided in another standard, I think under one of the other chapters, personnel, but we can certainly add that to this document as an example also.
I was just trying to look and see where it would be possible to, to put it.
Yeah, well, I think, I'm sure that we can
Yeah.
get it in someplace, but I think that would be a good addition.
Okay. So our next topic is athletic field. Are we done with the risk management? I'm sorry.
I think so,
I
unless,
have one other,
oh, okay.
oh, I know, on page 9, and you're talking about the training, it's the 1/3 paragraph down. You're talking about staff training. The last line says all staff receive sexual harassment training. Are you requiring all Parks and Rec staff to participate in the DEI training?
No, not all staff have. Partly because, well, full-time staff, yes. Part-time staff, if they're available, a lot of the sessions were offered during the day, and a lot of our part-time staff are either students or have other work commitments that they're not able to participate.
I don't know if you want to put in, that DEI training will be made available, or, something that allows for that variability.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, not for me.
Okay,
All right. Athletic field needs presentation, which you said you were going to be sending that to us.
yeah, I thought that I had included that as one of the attachments, but apparently it was not, so I
Yeah.
will send that out probably Friday, and if people want to look at it, we can bring it up under old business in the December meeting if there's any particular questions.
Okay. Our next meeting is December 9th.
Yes, 7:00.
Okay, and if there's nothing else, I'd make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I will second that motion.
All righty.
Excellent. All right, thank you all very much.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy, stay safe.
It's going to be different for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Happy
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
Fran, we can see your beautiful face.
Oh, there's
Bye, everybody.
Yes.
The internet will talking and video at the same time, but if I get booted now, it's okay.
All right, so we'll see everybody next month.
Okay.
All
Stay
right,
safe.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
thanks.
Bye.
Good night.